My advice to you was, guys, don't sleep. يعني don't. This is my issue with the people who work with me. Just don't sleep.
I have to disagree with you. At some point, you hit a very ugly burnout. Sleep is very important.
Everything that there is to be said has already been said.
That's the question.
Wallah, I'm more on your side than I am yours, but I'm also aware that you're right and we're wrong, technically, to me.
What is your biggest goal in life? What do you wake up every day wanting to achieve? Like, what is your purpose? And I think we can start from my right with Latifa.
Okay. Right now, because, you know, like you said, your vision is going to get clearer with time, I don't like to limit myself. So, with Mental Health AE, our aim is to, you know, raise awareness about the importance of mental health, because at that moment when we started, we realized it was such a big issue. Like, why are people not talking about it? So then that became my goal at the time. And then with Baytuki, the real estate tech startup, I saw all these women that I interviewed, and I researched for an entire year and I spoke to all of them. I listened to their fears and their hesitations and why they're not doing this. And I thought, okay, then now it's my goal to empower them, to help them, to enable them to start this journey. So I don't know what I'm going to have in the future, because they just pop up and I realized that, okay, that resonates, I'm going to do it. Again, I just don't like to limit myself, but I know that I really like to work on stuff that do bring value to people. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like it brings value to me.
I think for me, one word to really summarize it is legacy. I think it's kind of a subconscious obsession of wanting to leave something once you're gone, and wanting that thing to be beneficial, hopefully, or impactful for others. So it's that constant idea and the constant, burning feeling of, am I really using my potential to the absolute fullest? Am I really doing what I want to do? Am I really trying to help people because I know something or I have something that they don't? So that kind of summarizes everything. I think legacy for me is kind of the macro view. And then if you look micro into it, that's where ULI comes into play. That's where a lot of the things that I've been doing come into play. So I think that kind of summarizes it.
I love what you said. You don't want to put a limit on yourself. That's very smart. That's very good. There's no limits for anything, and we will keep changing. And if we have one vision from now until 30, 40 years later, 1,000% is going to change. Maybe right now what I'm thinking of is I want to be one from the top 3 cooks or chefs around the world, inshallah, in 20, 30 years. On a personal career level. That's what I've decided on this level. But there's so many other things that we can do.
I like what Omar said. It was regarding legacy. So in one way, since I am part of a family business, I am a legacy in one way, and I have to take it forward. In my situation, people look down like we just got handed a few things, probably. So in that way, I want to change that mindset of people. And it should be not the case that don't care about what others people think. But in that sense, that I want to be able to prove that just because I've had the privilege of having a family business backing me, behind me, I want to be able to use that opportunity and utilize the maximum abilities I get from that and take it forward wherever I go. I want to be able to, in 10 years, open up as many branches as Emirates flies.
Wow. What are the tips you can give us on managing time? Like genuine tips, because it's hectic.
In terms of time management, like I was mentioning before when I was speaking, I used to start my day from like 6 o'clock in the morning and ended at 2 o'clock in the night, to be honest, because I had so many things to manage. And the truth is, you can't do everything in one day. But you know what? It takes a toll on you. So in terms of time management, you need to prioritize what is really important. Because at the end of the day, you have only 24 hours in a day. I wish we had more. And you need to see what is important. It could be your classes, it could be the different activities you have in your day, it could be spending time with your friends, your family, and what at that day probably is more important to you. So priority compared to what you have to do. I think that's how time management really works. If you don't do that, you'll be all over the place. You'll be running around from one place to another, and it's gonna take a mental toll on you in the end of the day. Simple for me.
I will add a tiny bit. You mentioned you start at 6 and start at 2. My advice to you was, guys, don't sleep. This is my issue with the people who work with me. Just don't sleep. People with startups sleep 8 hours a day. I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. We used to sleep at the beginnings of the startup 3 to 4 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week, because this was busy. But going back to the question, I think you should think more of task management than time management. Manage your tasks among time, don't manage your time among tasks.
That's a good answer. And what else would like to know? Yes.
Okay. I have to disagree with you. Sleep is very important. No, sleep is very important. I mean, I actually tried everything. I tried doing that. It did not work. At some point, you hit a very ugly burnout where when you even try to do a 1 + 1, you're not going to know the answer. It's just not worth it.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, at some point you're gonna have to use like the extra backup battery, and then at some point that's also gonna run out, and then you're gonna feel like you're 50 at 20. That's not worth it. Sorry, not 50. Let's say 70, because it's not old. So get your sleep. That's very important. I'm sorry, you have to get your sleep. Okay, think of it like this. If you have a trip that is booked and your flight is at 7 a.m., are you going to wake up early or not?
Yes.
Are you going to give up watching a late movie or not? So it's a matter of priority, just like Azha said. So there are things that you're going to have to give up in order to gain something else, right? Like you want to buy a sandwich, you have to give money to get the sandwich. So same thing with your time. Make sure you get enough sleep though, because if you have a very full schedule, then you need to be, full of energy.
Alright, you gonna pick a side?
Everything that there is to be said has already been
You
said.
sleep or not? That's the question.
Well, I'm more on your side than I am yours, but I'm also aware that you're right and we're wrong, technically, to me. But I think it's totally up to you and how your body can handle it, and just prioritize your mental health and make sure that, again, don't fall into the trap of overworking yourself until you burn out, because that period of burnout is going to cost you time. So even though you might think there's a lot of time, I can use it, less sleep, it will cost you eventually. But I'm kind of conflicted on literally between both of you. Diplomacy level 100.
I don't need sleep from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. It's not how it works.
But healthy sleep,
healthy sleep.
6 to 8 hours sleep.
No.
6 to 8 hours is good. Also,
sleep
I have been doing this recently.
6 is okay.
Waking up at 5 a.m. really gives you the extra push for the day. You have the extra time. It's 1 hour, but it makes a huge difference. You have no idea. I kept making fun of whoever gave me that advice in the past, and I thought, why the hell would I wake up at 5 a.m.? What do you mean? But it's been amazing. If you set the pace in the first hour, it's going to carry on for the rest of the day. That's so worth it. So.
When we have the time, but financially we can't be able to do that. So we want to go and do and pursue what we want to do, but at the same time, if we go for that, it's not gonna get us any income back. So if we're scared of not having an income, it's high risk, high reward, and at the same time high risk, no reward. What's the solution to that problem?
Yeah, I could answer that. So, right now you're in university, right? You have the opportunity to take this risk, to put in the time. I'm not making any assumptions, but I'm guessing you don't really have a family to take care of, maybe, that you're worried about that kind of risk. So you should also look into the what is it called? The entrepreneur's journey, or a startup's money chart. So at first, you're just going to be in the red zone for a long time. And you just have to accept that. That's, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the work before you expect anything in return. You have to create the name, you have to, when you're speaking to anyone about your startup, you need to show something. How can you show something that you yourself didn't put time to, or, believe in enough to just even put a small amount of your savings into? So right now I believe right now is the time to take that risk. Just venture, just try it. What's the worst that could happen? You gain the experience. It's good.
Okay, anyone else would like to add something else?
I'd like to just say that add to what you're saying is that, if you have the idea, you work on it, you see where it's taking you, you take feedback from everyone around you, and the fact that you're still in AUS, you're studying, and I know time sometimes is a bit of an issue, finance is an issue. You have Shira for the students here, for anyone who doesn't know that. They can help you out that way. But at that point, you'll find out, is it feasible or not feasible? How to reach out to people. As Omar said, network is very important as well. In this university, I think you get to meet a ton of new people from different backgrounds, from different, majors, that can, reach that network out for you. So in terms of that, you only find out with time. If you don't put in the time, you don't invest the time, you're not going to get the experience out of it. So unless you don't try, you're never going to know.
Yeah, there's also the competitions that you can join, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get some prize money to also help you get started, or get working with an MVP.
I just want to add something really quickly. If you're worried about, because I think we've been talking about making money for the startup, if you're worried about making money yourself, I think my answer to you will probably be just sacrifice, because obviously you didn't make money for the longest time ever when we first started, and what we had to do was literally work different jobs at the same time, because we weren't willing to obviously abandon the idea, but at the same time, you have to pay bills and things like that. So literally, you had someone working in a construction site, you had someone working, in a marketing brand somewhere, and that's just what you have to do if you really believe in something. Again, it's also up to you to say no. It's up to you to say, okay, you know what, maybe this idea is not worth my time and the sacrifice. I'll save that for the next idea. That's completely fine. You don't have to just jump ship on the very first idea if you don't believe in it. But if you don't believe in it, then no one's going to justify the time or the sacrifice you have to put in. So it's totally up to you.
And I just wanted to say, the thing is that your first idea may not be the actual idea you go with in the end.
That's very true.
You might just end up finding something better out of that experience and apply it somewhere else. And trust me, it doesn't come off. In this university of my 4 years, I came up with 2 ideas that actually took place in this country. One was with sleeping pods, one was, portable charging systems. I spoke to my professors about it, and unfortunately I didn't take it forward, but I knew it came out in the end, and because of those ideas, I know I could think of something, and finally I'm here at this podium doing something completely different. But you have to start off with something to reach somewhere else.
My question is, how are you able to stay focused on your goal? How are you able to push out all the distractions of whatever life threw at you? How are you able to throw those away? Is my question.
Sure, okay, I'll take this. I'm answering from my point of view, my perspective. I've always been kind of driven, I'd say. So if I wanted something, then I would get it. I'm known for this even in my family. As hard as it's gonna be, as much as I'm gonna fall, I feel like you really need to have this thing inside that's telling you, I want this, go and get it. If it's not something that you're interested in, or if it's not something that you're passionate about, at some point those distractions are going to get to you. But if it's something you're very passionate about, I don't think you inside are going to let those distractions, get to you. For example, I'll just give you a very simple example. If you want to, go to the gym and build the muscles and whatever, you're going to try to go every single day. And some days you're going to get sick. Some days you're going to be instead, I kind of want to go out with my friends. But, you don't really fall off, the wagon. You go and enjoy, you rest when you're sick, and then you come back and you go into your routine. You make sure that whatever you want to do, you implement it and schedule it into your routine. And then it's gonna become automatic for you. That, this is what I want to do, and it's in my schedule, I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna be as simple as that.
Just to follow really quickly on that, I think you need to teach yourself how to say no. I think that becomes really helpful because you realize if you have a goal and you start having these distractions coming in, like friends asking you to go out, or suddenly there's a movie that you have to watch, like you need to start saying no yourself, because then your goal will be very clear, right? As long as you remove the distractions yourself, that goal becomes super crystal clear.
About this friends thing, I just want to add, make sure that you have the right group of friends, because you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with 5 successful, driven people, then guess what? You're going to be the 6th one.
Starting to look at each other now.
It's like,
I agree. I will just add one more point, my friends. Let me try to put it through in a different vision. You will work on so many different projects in your life. You will work on so many ideas. One day at a certain time, you will not struggle on spending 100% of your time on one idea. This is when you will know that this idea is yours. This is when you will know that you're ready to spend your time, your life for this idea. You won't struggle then. You would struggle at so many times by so many distractions. But one time when you find yourself, you're waking up for this idea, you're very happy spending time on this idea, this is a sign for you. I'm happy here. Let me go on.
In the way how I focused on my goal, the fear of failure. To be very honest, that really was making me driven the whole time for 3 years of my life until now, because that fear was constant in my head. To be honest, if I'm a very insecure person sometimes, and because of that, I have a certain goal I have to reach in my head. It's a 10-year plan I have made for myself since the time I started Casa Milano, and I want to be able to reach there no matter what. And because of this insecurity, because of this fear of failure, they motivate me in order to give my best, in order to say no to things, because it's a very difficult thing. So if anybody knows me personally, it's very I can't say no. It's I want to help you, I want to go out here, I want to go out here. But because in the last 3 years, you learn new things every single day. So you're able to say no, you're able to value the things that you need to prioritize more. And because of that, I was able to, keep my focus still. And honestly, the people around you, if you're gonna, fall, if the people around you are good and they want you to succeed, it could be your team, it could be your family, it could be your friends, they'll somehow always help you to get back on your feet as well and focus on the goal in front.
Was who's your role model or someone that inspires you? We'll start with us.
Sometimes I don't have a role model, sometimes I do have a role model. It's very random. But in this situation, it's my dad, I'll be very honest, because he started from scratch. I can honestly say that, whatever he went through in his early years, I didn't even come close to that. I was lucky enough to go to school and graduate. He didn't graduate. It is my graduation party. He actually said, "Listen, you graduated. I didn't graduate, and I'm here at this level." So he was making fun of me. And he is the one I look up to the most, because he's the one I learned this business from. I learned about passion from him. The simplest thing for him was, if you don't have passion in what you're doing every single day, you're gonna hate yourself, and you're not gonna enjoy it, and the people around you are not gonna enjoy it. And I don't tell this to him often, that I know he's right all the time. Yeah, it's very difficult for me to admit that to him, but the thing is, he's always advising me on what I'm supposed to be doing, on how I can do it better, but he gives me my own space. So he is my role model because of that. He is everything to me, and because of him, I'm here.
I would agree to my friend. I can't take my dad not a role model. He's a role model for me, of course, but I have different role models. I would answer the question is have a different role model for every sector in life, maybe. Have a role model for a social life, have a role model for a family life, have a role model.
Absolutely. I agree on that one.
Yes, have a role model for on your career, in business, in sports, because there is someone who's very special and very inspiring at his sector, but you're a group of so many ideas and experiences and emotions, so you get from him and from him and from him and from him. That's how I think role models should be.
That's a good answer.
I think that's the perfect answer, to be honest, because I'll start by saying obviously it's my parents for me being here and giving me all the opportunities, but I think this is such a perfect way to look at role models, because you could look at, and you said sports, so look at like Ronaldo and his hard work, and then you look at some other like area in life and you want to be like a certain entrepreneur or whatever it is. Like there's so many different figures, and you could even look back in history. A lot of people idolize Nelson Mandela, Muhammad Ali, so I think you are a combination of the different people you look up to. There's no one person that you're like, I want to be that person, at least from my experience. Yeah.
I actually agree with Rahman on that point. I don't have a role model. There's this thing that happens sometimes if you focus too much on this. Like, I want to become like that person, and then you get into this, cycle of comparing yourself, and then insecurities roll in, and then, oh my God, I'm not good enough because I'm not like that person. What I like to do and what I learned to do is to look at different people and see what I like. It can be someone, I had a conversation with at the supermarket, and I'm thinking, wow, I love the way this person thinks. And then it can also be an inspirational speaker, somewhere on stage, somewhere, on social media. So I don't have a role model. I have things that I like, that I think, it would be cool to have that trait, but that's it.
Thank you very much for that. You see your younger self in the trap. What is one piece of advice that you would say to them?
One thing I would tell myself about 3 years ago? Don't be afraid of failure. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. I tried so hard I set this image in my head or this goal, and then I have to get to that. And then if I didn't, I would spiral and I would, go in circles and oh my goodness, I failed. Like I said, I kept trying again and again, but I would like to avoid going into this spiral and this negative feelings and oh my God, I didn't do well, everyone thinks bad of me, no one cares. No one cares, I swear. So I just tell myself that try your best, learn from your failures and move forward. It's okay. It's okay to fail.
Yeah, I think I would probably tell myself 3 years ago to seize every opportunity that comes my way. I think that's how you stumble upon things like finding your passion in media. That's how you stumble upon things like starting a startup. Seize every opportunity that comes your way. I know I just said get in the habit of saying no, but that's to distractions. Get in the habit of saying yes to opportunities.
I would spend less time on entertainment and more time on exploring myself, trying new things, joining more activities, and don't think I haven't spent a lot of time in activities. I have so much time, and if I can go back to time, I'll spend more. This was the time I learned most in my life during AUS, and I would get back to it to learn more.
So I was a bit of a control freak back in the day, that I want to control everything that goes on in my life, like from A to Z. It could be family, friends, anything, or my university life. And because I was a little bit paranoid, I could say. But what I would tell myself 3 years ago is that keep calm, the universe will work its way out for you and for the better. Simple.
These are all really great answers. Our final question is, what do you do when stress becomes too overwhelming?
I eat.
You eat?
Wallahi, that's my advice.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I do.
Yeah,
Honestly.
a lot of us do eat like
That's
stress eat kind of.
It could be a number of things. It depends on the stress you're going through, to be very honest. It could be work stress, it could be family stress, it could be, just normal stress, you don't know. So you just want to sometimes just be on your own. Go take a walk outside, probably clear your head. That could probably help you out. Or, for me, the best time is going out and spending time with my friends, because, everyone around you, just the positive energy that comes through, that makes you feel better.
I would add to food. يعني a tiny bit of information. It's music. Music is the escape for me, for whenever it's stressful. Yeah,
That's true, actually.
I think music is great. I was gonna say, for me, it's disconnect and try to not be alone with your thoughts, even though sometimes you need to be alone with your thoughts. But music is a great way to just disconnect from the world. Almost have like this, main character moment where you feel like you're in a movie, you're on a bus, and you're listening to the theme song of the movie. Have those moments more often if you're feeling stressed, because it's literally like a disconnect. It's a hard kind of reboot to your system. So I definitely agree with the music point.
My answer would be, so what I do is I like to take a step back and think, first of all, when you're overwhelmed, you don't really know what you're stressed about. So take a step back and look at all the things that are in front of you, the things that you have to do, because they're the stressors. And then prioritize based on importance. And then think, okay, if this is the root cause of my stress, then let me work on it. And then you put a plan, because sometimes you just need to get organized. But taking a step back is what's important. Because staying in that, it's good to disconnect, take a walk, put on your headphones, do something to just give yourself a second to take a step back and breathe and plan. Because staying in that zone and overthinking, it's not going to get you anywhere. So that's my answer.
If you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? But I actually want to hear what everyone here has to say. I know you had the answer ready. You've been asked this before a lot.
Of course. يعني مقلوبة كنافة I'd be in paradise with these things. خلاص. I had it in Nablus last week. Alhamdulillah.
And what about the rest? What about you?
Well, for me, it would probably be wings, chicken wings. I think I could live on an island with a bucket of chicken wings.
Spicy are we talking?
Well, it depends on the mood. Like sometimes you want pain, so you go really spicy. Sometimes you just want like a cute barbecue flavor. So just like endless supply of wings and like flavors on the side, and I'm
That's
good.
a good answer. What about you?
I'm very specific. KFC twisted meals, spicy fries, large Pepsi without ice, and set for life.
And you take that further.
Okay, I got it.
Latifa, not her answer.
Korean barbecue. I love that thing. Oh my god, I can have like 3 meals a day, every single day for the rest of my life. I love beef. I like steak. You name it. But Korean barbecue would be the answer.
I think that's an amazing option. And on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you everyone for joining.